Good evening, Patriots, and welcome to another edition of the Douglas Ducote Show. You had many places you could be tonight, but you chose to be here with me, and for that, I am forever grateful. I'm a little cynical, I guess, right now. Not quite sure what the word is, but I need you to pay close attention to what I'm going to be talking about tonight, because it is very, very important that anyone in the United States of America that considers themselves a God-fearing, Bible-worshiping, Second Amendment toting, true red, white, and blue United States Constitution supporting patriot needs to be aware of what is brewing. And what is brewing right now in America is very, very dangerous. We are in uncharted waters, I'm sorry, would be the proper way of putting that. You see, I, along with all elected and appointed government officials, military, law enforcement, Congress, the president, the vice president, we all took an oath to support and defend the United States Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. But that's not all the oath says. The oath says that we are to uphold the Constitution, even if it means putting our life on the line. Nothing in America trumps the Constitution. No party is above the Constitution, regardless if it's Republican or Democrat. My friends, what is brewing right now in this country, if it happens, is going to make what took place at the Capitol on January 6th look like a Boy Scout convention. Those people that went into the Capitol and did what they did, they weren't armed with weapons. They didn't have AR-15s and AK-47s. They didn't have handguns. In fact, not a single person was arrested with a weapon, or at least not one that has bullets in it. But what's been sitting in the wings of this country are true-blooded American patriots. Those that are veterans that took an oath, whether it's military or it's veteran law enforcement officers, and that realize our oath never once stopped. It is with us until the day we die. If the current rate of what is happening right now continues, there will be massive bloodshed right here, just like it took place against the Redcoats, for instance, all over again, just like it did during the Civil War. Except this time, it'd be American citizens against American citizens. Now, let me go on record to say that I pray to God What I'm about to share with you tonight does not happen. I do not want to see it happen. Neither should anyone listening to my words tonight. But I am prepared for the oath that I took to give my life in defense of this country if I am called upon to do so. I already did that when I raised my hand and took the oath in the United States military, and when I raised my hand and took the oath as a law enforcement officer. Right this moment, we have a tyrannic government, an FBI and a Department of Justice and a Homeland Security that have been weaponized against Republicans and conservatives, and a former president. Right this moment, we have an administration, the Biden administration, that is not following the rule of law or the Constitution and the oath that they took. And they are going after not just Republicans and conservatives and anyone that supported Donald Trump or MAGA, but they're going after those in power in the state of Texas. And they're doing so in a way that pisses on the Constitution of the United States. There's going to come a time soon. And when I say soon, I'm saying it could happen in the next 7 days or the next 7 months. But I do see it happening before the election, sadly, where the leaders of the National Guard in the states of the United States will need to decide where you stand. Do you stand with the Constitution and the oath you took? Or do you follow orders from your leader, the President of the United States, that's giving an unlawful order? And the same goes for members of federal law enforcement. The Border Patrol, for instance. Do you just follow orders to keep your job, even though you know 100% the orders violate the Constitution? Or do you stand up for the oath you took and stand with Texas? Right now, as I speak, there are many states in America with Republican governors that are offering their National Guard to go to Texas to stand up against the federal government. The sheriffs in the state of Texas, not all of them, but many of them, are taking a stand against the federal government. There is already a standoff right now, this very moment, between federal agents and the Texas National Guard on the border. And it's about to get very, very bad. Sadly, this didn't have to happen. It shouldn't have happened. Doesn't matter what party you belong to. You took an oath to defend the Constitution of the United States of America. Period. End of discussion. Stick a fork in it. Yet, we have a party in this country, the Democrats, that do not give a shit what the Constitution says. We even have Democrat members of Congress that I've told you about before, right here on this show, that have stood up and said, we've got to change the Constitution and take away the powers of Republicans and conservatives that want to throw it up in our face every day. And they claim it's an old and outdated paperwork that doesn't fit into today's times. That's Democrat members doing that. Cory Booker is one of them, who blatantly said he wants to see the Constitution of the United States changed and rewritten to keep up with today's society. Folks, we're going to talk tonight about what's happening in Texas. First, I want to say this to the sheriffs in all the counties in the state of Texas. You have the power to deputize any and all American citizens to stand with you and to stand with the Texas National Guard. I, for one, am ready to go to Texas and lay my life on the line once again for this country to defend this Constitution. And I have a very big audience. I won't come alone. I will come with thousands of veterans, of military and law enforcement, and American citizens that are tired and sick of what's happening to this country. And we will bring our weapons, and we will take a stand for the Constitution of the United States. And anyone that tries to come in between us and the Constitution will have to suffer the consequences for their actions. That's where we're at tonight, my friends. And that is some scary shit. I have served, deployed overseas to foreign countries 4 times to combat. And I'm more concerned right this moment of what's happening between the federal government and the state of Texas than I ever was in places like the Middle East and Central and South America, Southeast and Southwest Asia. Because it's Americans against Americans. And it didn't have to come to this. We have one party that believes in the rule of law and believes in the United States Constitution, willing to die for it. And we have another party that doesn't give 2 shits about that paper. Now, let's talk about what Governor Abbott just put out. Texas Governor Greg Abbott said President Biden's press secretary was uninformed in her rhetoric about the state's border security measures, adding today that he believes the state will prevail in the courts over the Biden administration. Karine Jean-Pierre said in a new interview, it was unfortunate that Abbott has politicized this issue of what's happening on the border, and it's not making people's lives safer. She went on to say it's actually making it harder for law enforcement at the border to do their job. And she said that on CNN. Let me be the first to tell you, if you don't already know this, the press secretary for Joe Biden, this nappy-headed bitch, doesn't have a fucking clue about the United States Constitution. Not a damn clue. And she is a liar. Abbott fired back, calling it a very uninformed comment on her part. There's really only one person in America not doing their job, he said, and that is the President of the United States, who's not enforcing immigration laws. And he is 100% correct in that statement. Also, as she has already been called out, and the president and other Democrats and the media, they have cast a false narrative about some people dying on the border that apparently Texas denied Border Patrol access to, that's been completely debunked because it wasn't true. It didn't happen. The Texas National Guard did not stop Border Patrol or anybody else from rescuing illegal aliens that were drowning in the Rio Grande because they couldn't get through the Constantino Wire. That is a lie. It did not happen. Just like when they said that the Border Patrol was whipping immigrants on horseback with whips, it was all made up. It was a lie because they can't face the truth. Because facing the truth means that they have to support the Constitution, and they're not willing to do that. The U.S. Supreme Court sided with the Biden administration on Monday, as you all know, in a case involving razor wire fence along the Texas border with Mexico, allowing Border Patrol agents to cut the Constantino wire that Texas had installed while litigation continues. But Abbott said the High Court only issued 2 sentences and did not hand down an opinion on the matter. He expressed confidence that the state will prevail if the case is heard on its merits. And if it doesn't, let me be the first to tell you that the members of the Supreme Court of the United States of America that side against Texas on this, well, sadly, they would be traitors. They would be going against their oath to protect American citizens and our Constitution. He went on to say, I think we'll get it to the Fifth Circuit on its merits, where I believe we can win. And I do believe when it gets to the Supreme Court the second time, we can win. No one knows what the justices were thinking at all. All we know is they wanted to send it back to the Fifth Circuit. Abbott said the Biden administration had broken the pact between the federal government and the state of Texas is laid out by the Constitution. And he is 100% correct. Including that agreement was the compact that the federal government would take care of the states, and Article 5, Section 4 of the Constitution speaks to that and says that if the federal government does not take care of the states, and the states are in danger, which Texas is, along with all the rest of the states in America, where these illegal MS-13 gang members and cartel members and sex traffickers and those running drugs are going to, killing Americans with fentanyl and rape and murder. We ask the federal government to live up to its obligations then the authors of the Constitution knew there would be times when the federal government would not live up to its duty. So they empowered states in Article 1, Section 10, the right of self-defense. What Texas is inserting, Article 1, Section 10, right of self-defense, because the President of the United States is not fulfilling his duty to enforce the laws passed by Congress that deny illegal entry into the United States. In a 5-4 vote this past Monday, the justices granted an emergency appeal from the Biden administration as part of the escalating standoff at the border with Texas. When asked if he would instruct Texas law enforcement officers to physically prevent federal officers from accessing the contested part of the border, Abbott said the Biden administration has really, truly abdicated its responsibility to secure the border and enforce the laws. Texas, very simply, will secure its border. There are criminals coming across our border, he said. Texas has a right as a state to stop criminals from coming into our state to make arrest of those criminals. We have National Guard, as well as Texas Department of Public Safety officers who are there to make those arrests and to deny illegal entry. Joe Biden's opinion is to enforce the laws of the United States, or his option is to enforce the laws of the United States and stop this illegal entry, he said. Now, I go back to what I told you a few minutes ago in the beginning of this, that there are currently, I believe it's 20 states right now, 20 states that are sending their National Guard to Texas for this standoff against the federal government. And that has raised some eyebrows with the Democrats. As Texas Governor Greg Abbott continues to tout the state's right to self-defend itself from this invasion, and that's what it is. And not only is it illegal aliens, drug traffickers, human and sex traffickers, it's also terrorists from Middle Eastern countries and China and North Korea, and terrorists that have been caught. Literally, they're on no-fly list. They couldn't get in any other way. So how many did get through out of the millions that have gotten through that are waiting to kill us? That's how dangerous this is. So some Democrat lawmakers are now calling on President Biden to take control of these states' National Guards and put them on federal orders. Now, let me explain this to you. Each state's National Guard have two commanders-in-chief. They have the governor of the state when the state governor needs them to be activated to help do things, whether it's search and rescue operations, whether it's flood control stuff, border stuff like we have happening there now, law enforcement type activities, disaster relief from hurricanes, tornadoes. The governor of the state becomes the commander-in-chief of that state's National Guard. But the President of the United States becomes their commander-in-chief if he activates them to federal duty status. And then the state governor has no control over his or her National Guard. And that's what these Democrats have realized in the past 24 hours. Abbott issued a lengthy statement on Wednesday saying the federal government broke the compact between the U.S. and the individual states. Texas has also filed lawsuits against the administration, which cut the razor wire set up by the state on the Rio Grande to prevent migrants from illegally crossing into Texas. As well as the establishment of buoys on the river. There were these orange, basically big balls that would rotate like a ball would in the water, a big one. You can't climb on it because it's going to go with the water. And then they put razor wire on that. Well, Abbott issued statements about the Biden administration overstepping its authority. Democrat lawmakers like Representative Greg Casar, C-A-S-A-R, Democrat, Texas, is accusing the governor of taking a play out of former President Trump's playbook. Greg Abbott has continued to use political stunts and inflammatory language to advance his own agenda, violating the Constitution and endangering both U.S. citizens and those seeking asylum, he posted on X, formerly Twitter. Now, yesterday or last night, I posted about him all over Twitter and in my community section here on YouTube and on Facebook, asking you to go to his social media sites, listen to what he's saying. This man took an oath to the United States Constitution, and he has not a fucking clue what it says. He's clueless. He's a member of Congress. He shouldn't be cleaning out dog kennels at the pound. He's that fucking ignorant. And he's a member of Congress. Now, I invited him, open invitation, to come on this show, but he won't. I heard nothing back from him, and I will not, because he's a fucking pussy. He's not a man. He's a weak, no good, far left liberal pussy. He continued with a string of posts saying he agreed with Representative Juan Castro, Democrat, Texas, another one, who on Tuesday tweeted that Biden should seize control of the Texas National Guard. The administration has also sued over a recently signed law that allows Texas state and local officials to arrest illegal immigrants. They're suing Texas for doing their job that they're not doing. You could not make this up if you tried. It's insane what this administration is doing. They are the ones violating the shit out of the United States Constitution and the laws of the land that we already have in place. The administration has accused Texas of interfering with federal control over immigration and border security and said it is putting both agents and migrants in danger. That's a fucking lie. It's not true. They're the ones that are endangering lives. Thousands of people in this country right now are burying loved ones from fentanyl that's coming across that fucking border because Joe Biden and his Democrats aren't supporting the Constitution or the laws of this land. They are criminals. What they're doing is treasonous. Every damn one of them. Went on to say Governor Greg Abbott is using the Texas National Guard to obstruct and create chaos at the border. Castro posted on X Tuesday, formerly Twitter. If Abbott is defying yesterday's Supreme Court ruling at POTUS, needs to establish sole federal control of the Texas National Guard now. And then, former Representative Beto O'Rourke, Democrat, Texas, who is running for governor in the state, also called out Abbott for using the Texas Guard to defy a Supreme Court ruling. When Governor Oval Eugene Faubus died in 1957, President Eisenhower federalized the Arkansas Guard to ensure compliance with the law, O'Rourke tweeted. Biden must follow this example of bold, decisive leadership to end this crisis before it gets worse. Abbott is not alone, though, in his fight for the state's right to bluster protection along the border between Mexico and Texas. In fact, former Republican presidential candidate and current Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is sending National Guard members to Texas. If the Constitution really made states powerless to defend themselves against any invasion, it wouldn't have been rectified in the first place, and Texas would have never joined the Union when it did, DeSantis posted on X. Texas is upholding the law while Biden is flouting it. Florida will keep assisting. Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt, also a Republican, reposted a video on X of the Texas National Guard marching. Oklahoma stands with Texas. Abbott made many arguments in his statement yesterday, which was cited Supreme Court precedents of federal control over the Immigration and Border Authority. The administration also claims it is following immigration law, while pointing to the numbers of removals since May that outpaced all of fiscal year 2019. Instead, the administration says it needs additional funding from Congress and comprehensive immigration reform to correct what it claims is a broken system. No, fuck no. I don't give a shit if you had 500 trillion goddamn dollars and you sent it to that fucking border. That's not going to fix it when you have a party that's defying the Constitution of the United States of America. When you have a party that does not give a shit what the laws of this country say. Article 4 of the Constitution, Section 4. The United States shall grant to every state in its union a republican form of government and shall protect each of them against invasion and on application of the legislature or of the executive when the legislature cannot be convened against domestic violence, which is exactly what's happening to Texas. It's in the Constitution, you fucking idiots. The amendments of the Constitution of the United States, as rectified by the states. Amendment 2. The Founding Fathers didn't ask why it was necessary to provide the people the means to resist a tyrannic central government. It was a problem that they had very recently encountered in real life in the form of thousands of who? Redcoats, sent across the Atlantic by a distant central government to suspend civil rights and enforce oppressive laws. So when they drafted their own system of central government and provided it sufficient military force to repel or deter foreign threats, they were profoundly concerned that this new national government would not be able to turn its power back against its own citizens. And that's what Joe Biden's administration is doing. Their solution was to make sure that the government drew its military power from the citizens themselves. That is the meaning of a much misrepresentative, for example, of the Second Amendment, a well-regulated militia being necessary for the security of a free state. The idea was to rely for our defense primarily on an armed citizenry that can be called up as a militia. You and me. If the people themselves are the military power of the state, then that power cannot be used against the people. That's what they meant when they called the system necessary for the security of a free state. The Democrats want to say that's obsolete. Why? Because it goes against their narrative and their warped ideology. Despite advances in weapons, training, and tactics, and the professionalism of the military, we still adhere to this system, both in letter and in spirit, in three ways: an armed citizenry, you and me; a military, a citizen soldiers, the National Guard and militias; and the National Guard itself. I didn't join the military for college, although I did utilize college while I was in the military and got my degree. That's not why I joined. I didn't join the military because I needed a job, couldn't find work. I was making damn good money. I was an electrician. I was a union electrician in Louisiana, making very well, doing good. I joined the United States military because it's a family tradition with the Ducote family, going all the way back to the Civil War. World War I, II, Korea, Vietnam, and then in my generation, the Middle East and Central and South America. My dad, my uncles, cousins, a family tradition, just something you did. You served your country. That's what we do in our family. Now, not everybody served in the Ducote family, most due to health reasons, or they were already in positions where they owned companies. But for the majority of us, we took the oath because we love this country. We grew up saying the Pledge of Allegiance in classrooms, standing and singing with honor the national anthem at sporting events, saying prayers in church, in courthouses, sporting events, meetings. We're God-loving people. We're not warmongers. We're not war hungry. We don't want to go overseas and kill people. But when they want to kill us, it's better that we kill them over there before they come here to take us out. Somebody forgot to tell that to the Democrats in this administration, because terrorists are coming across our southern border that believe in the Quran, that believe in killing the infidels, which are you and me. It's not a matter of if, it's when. When will the next 9/11 type event take place in America? It's a ticking time bomb, because it will. Sadly, it will. Because this administration and these Democrats up in Washington, D.C. do not give a flying fuck about we the people. They only give a shit about their own goddamn jobs and making money and writing books. You tell me how a member of Congress, let's just take one. I don't know. Let's pick AOC. One day, she's a bartender. Nothing against bartenders. I love them. She's a bartender. The next day, she's a member of Congress. And 3 years later, she's a fucking multi-millionaire. How? You think the FBI is looking into that? How about when Ilhan Omar, Congresswoman, Democrat, calls out American veterans, those that participated over in Somalia. You know the movie Black Hawk Down? Yeah, that Somalia, that war, that conflict. When she calls the military of the U.S. that was involved in that were the real terrorist. A sitting member of the United States Congress is referring to American veterans as terrorists. And what in the fuck is the FBI doing about it? Not a goddamn thing. Why? Because she's a fucking Democrat. Let a Republican say some shit like that. And then there's Rashid Tlaib, or her horrible, hateful message against the Jewish people and inciting violence against Jews here in America. They're being beat up and killed. What is the FBI doing about that? Not a fucking thing. Why? Because she's a goddamn Democrat. Why? Because there's a two-tier justice system in the United States of America. This is bullshit. On day one of Joe Biden coming into office, he reversed every fucking policy that Trump had in place to secure our southern border. And right now, in the 3 years that he's been in office, more illegal invasion has taken place than at any time in American history. That is treasonous. He also surrendered us. He surrendered the United States of America to terrorists in Afghanistan. There was no plan. They didn't plan shit. First, let's see. Let's get all our weapons out of there. Oh, let's get all the American people out of there. No, We're just going to withdraw, told them when we're going to do it, went in there, and we left behind billions of dollars of our military equipment that went into the hands of the terrorists that want to kill you and me, that are coming across that southern border. That is treasonous, aiding and abetting the enemy. That's Joe Biden. What's the FBI doing about that? Not a fucking thing. Why? Because he's a goddamn Democrat. I used to be a Democrat. I was a proud Democrat. But it's not the party today that it was then. Now it's hijacked by the far left liberals and their warped, horrible ideology of destruction of America. And not only did he leave behind the billions of dollars of our military equipment, guns, rockets, tanks, helicopters, but he left behind over 300 American citizens to die at the hands of the Taliban. That is treasonous. I can tell you where he got it from. He got it from that guy that he used to be the vice president for, Barack Hussein Obama, who traded a known traitor, U.S. Army traitor, who abandoned his post in his unit and went and joined the Taliban in Afghanistan. He traded that piece of shit for 5 captured on the battlefield terrorists that were responsible for killing American troops. That is treasonous. Why is Obama not being charged with that? Because he's a Democrat. America now is a fucking joke. And now, every single thing that the left and the Democrats bitched and moaned and griped about that was going to happen if we elected Donald Trump, none of it came true under Donald Trump. None of it. They were all wrong. They were liars. But it has come true under Joe fucking Biden. We have North Korea launching rockets left and right, coming out with an ICBM to reach America, and nuclear weapons to destroy us. Trump, who they said was going to get us in a war with North Korea, not only did he go down there and meet this motherfucker, he stepped over the fucking DMZ line into North Korea and stood there and faced him eye to eye. I dare you. I dare you. Because we will nuke you back to the beginning of fucking time. And North Korea stood down. Regardless of what you think of Trump, they understood strength and power and real leadership. And we didn't have any problems with North Korea. Biden comes along, they're ready to kill us. Wipe off the West Coast. Taiwan and China. Trump stopped China from not only invading Taiwan and doing what they're doing right now, flying their aircraft at our aircraft and causing damn near mid-air collisions every week. But you think for a second they would have flown a fucking balloon, a spy balloon, all across America under Trump's administration? This senile motherfucker at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue let it go. And then shut it down when it was on the other side, after it's already transmitted all of its information that it was here to gather. And, as we know now, tried to cover it up and didn't even want us to know about it. Why? Because him and his son are in bed with these Chinese companies that were paying to play with Biden when he was a vice president. We know that from Hunter's laptop, that the left tried to say wasn't real. It was Russian disinformation. He kept Russia from invading Ukraine and said, no, don't even fucking think about massing up your military on that fucking border. Don't even think about it. And they did not. And now it's a bloody ass war. He gave all of his support behind Israel. He helped change their capital. He was proactive in military intelligence gathering of Hamas and Hezbollah and all these terrorist organizations that were out there to kill Israelis. And he kept them from doing that. He put Iran in checkmate and said, no more. You want to build nuclear weapons? We're going to have one coming right down your fucking throat. Keep it up and watch what happens. We will turn you into a fucking parking lot of glass. And oh, the left was so freaked out. Oh, how dare he? How unpresidential. Iran didn't do shit for those 4 years. What are they doing now? They're the biggest supplier of weapons and ammunition to Hezbollah, to Hamas, and are already on record saying once they have the capability to deliver the nuclear weapon that they've already built, they're taking Israel off the face of the earth, and then America. All of that happened under this senile motherfucker up at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue that can't walk and chew gum at the same time, that falls up a flight of stairs on Air Force One, God forbid falling down a set, that can't ride a bicycle without falling on his fucking head, that stands in front of a camera and mumbles a bunch of bullshit out of his mouth that doesn't make any sense while he's sniffing little girls' hair. And the left and the Democrats applaud this motherfucker. What is happening right now? We are in uncharted territory. Not only are we teetering on a possible World War III with nuclear weapons, all because of weak leadership at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. All the things that the Democrats and liberals said Trump would do, he didn't. Biden did, and they're fucking crickets. They're not saying anything. But then he's turning the Constitution on its head with this silly ass game he's playing with our southern border. And Americans are paying the consequences for his actions. American citizens are dying by the thousands due to the drugs coming across that border. Now you can say whatever you want to say about, oh, they're just a drug addict, who gives a fuck? No, They're a human being who, for whatever reason, took fentanyl, or it was laced in something else they didn't know about. Somebody loves them. And they're dead because of Joe Biden. There are terrorists right now in America waiting to kill you and me because of Joe Biden. The FBI and the Department of Justice need to fucking get off their dead ass and do the right thing by we the people. You work for us. It's not the other way around. We want you to enforce the laws equally across this nation. Sadly, the only way that's going to happen is either an all-out civil war, which I pray doesn't happen, or we get a Republican at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Keep the House, take back the Senate, and then tell the leaders of the FBI and Department of Justice and Homeland Security, get the fuck out of here. And then, since we can now go after people after they're out of office, go after them. The same way they're going after Donald Trump. You motherfuckers don't have a clue what you have done and what's about to happen in this country because of your failures. Why? Are you that fucking stupid that you can't see the damage that's being done and you don't give a fuck? Is that what this is about? Why would you allow this to continue to happen? Why? That's some un-American shit right there. It's sad. It's pathetic. I've had angel families come on this show and cry, and I've shed tears with them because their loved ones were killed by an illegal alien that Joe Biden let in. And our Gold Star families who died for their loved ones died for what? Every single soldier that ever served in Afghanistan sat back and watched the TV and went, what the fuck? This guy just surrendered us. What did we go there for? We left them all this shit. The world is on fire right now, and so is this country internally because of the incompetence at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue and the people he's put in power. And it's about to go down in the state of Texas. So once again, to the sheriffs in the counties in Texas, reach out to me. I'll be more than happy to bring a posse with me to stand with Texas against tyranny. Because that's exactly what is happening right now. People are about to die. Americans are about to die. More than already have because of incompetent leadership. And that is absolutely horrific. Thank you for being here tonight. You had many places you could be. You chose to tune in to me. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Don't know how much longer I'll be allowed to be on YouTube because, as you know, they're run by far-left liberals, and the FBI now is reaching out to these social media platforms saying do not allow them to exercise their freedom of speech, especially if it goes against their narrative. So you can follow me in many different locations. It's all in every video I have, every show I have tells you everywhere you can follow me on Facebook, on Rumble, on X, formerly Twitter, LinkedIn. I'm on a bunch of different places. Plus my website, douglasducote.com. They take me off of here. You'll always be able to see me there. Look out for one another. Look out for your families. Be prepared. It's about to get crazy. Whether it's World War III, what we're teetering on, or an implosion within our country of Americans against Americans, the right versus the left. I believe in the rule of law and our Constitution. And I will go to my grave willingly to support both. And every American patriot, anyone that considers themselves an American patriot, should be willing to say the exact same thing. As always, please say a prayer for our men and women serving in the United States military, our veterans, our law enforcement officers, our first responders and their families, our angel families, our blue and gold star families, and our country. May God bless the United States of America and save us from ourselves. And may God bless each and every one of you. Have a blessed weekend, whatever you're doing. Please be safe. Please pay attention to your surroundings and always be prepared, because you have no idea what's around the corner. And I think I've made it pretty damn clear tonight what could very easily be right around the corner. And if that doesn't wake you up, there's no helping you. God bless. I'll see you back here next Tuesday at 8 p.m. Central Time. Until then, take care.